Welcome to Fabulous Feasts. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio and this is my kitchen. Fabulous Feasts is all about empowering you to make good choices with your foods. My patients know I'm all about an anti-inflammatory diet, so we always talk about foods that are nutrient dense and that don't spike your glycemic index real high. And we also talk about healthy fats because what you eat controls your health. And if you're not having optimum health, choosing better foods could be the answer for you. And if you are healthy and you are feeling well, great. Eating right will keep you that way. If you happen to be an athlete, whether you're recovering from a workout or whether you want to get ready for the next workout, you know your diet's essential. And that's what Fabulous Feast is all about. Talking about foods that will enable you to meet your goals to get better, to stay better, and feel better. Today's recipes are going to be a pork tenderloin with roasted sweet potatoes and broccoli rabe. And for the salad, we're going to pair that with a 3-bean salad, which is going to be high in omega-3 fatty acids, and you'll see how we're going to do that. And then, of course, we're going to finish off with our meal prep tip so that you can use the foods we're cooking today for meal prep for later in the week to save you a little bit of time. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need to do is prep our sweet potatoes because they take the longest. They take about an hour, and then we'll start the meat afterwards. So sweet potatoes, first thing I want you to do is think about the size of your sweet potatoes, because cutting a sweet potato that's shaped like this into nice little wedges and medallions is going to be more difficult than one like this. But you'll notice I have a yellow sweet potato or a yam. We call them the same in the United States. Technically, they are slightly different, but we call yams and sweet potatoes the same thing, because this is also a sweet potato, but it's white. This is also a sweet potato, but it's purple skinned. Unfortunately, it's not purple flesh, it's white flesh on this one. So some of the purple skinned sweet potatoes have purple flesh. How do you know? Well, if you look closely here, you can see on the little edge where it was broken off, it's white. So this is going to be a white, purple skinned sweet potato. So first thing you do is scrub them down. If you can get organic sweet potatoes, get organic sweet potatoes because we're leaving the skins on. We need to leave the skins on with sweet potatoes because they just cook much better. If you take the skins off, they have a tendency to fall apart a little bit more when you roast them. So the other thing about sweet potatoes, they're going to be higher in fiber than they are with a white potato. They're colored. Even the white ones have, may have a white flesh, but they come in different colors. And the colors are high in antioxidants. So your yams, your yellow sweet potatoes, are going to be high in your carotenoids, your beta-carotene, a precursor for vitamin A, which boosts your immune system. And even though this might have a white flesh on it, it's still very dense. There's a lot of fiber that keeps the glycemic index low. The other thing that fiber is really good for, it not only keeps you regular, but it also is great to feed those microorganisms that live in your gut. Those good and bad bacteria, the microbiome, they need fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber. And you get them from sweet potatoes, which means sweet potatoes are a very good choice for your diet. You really want to stay away from white potatoes. High glycemic index, not a lot of fiber, not a good choice. The vitamin and mineral profile in white potatoes is not as good either. So when it comes to potatoes, keep them sweet. Yams are fine. So let's cut a few sweet potatoes into little wedges. And again, we need a roasting pan for this. Actually, before my roasting pan, I need a bowl. So let's get a bowl out. So I'm just going to put them in a bowl. So we're going to take one plain old yam. sweet potato. And let's say, let's take the purple skin one. You know, last week I was able to get a purple flesh one, and you can get these at your regular store. I didn't have to go shopping to a specialty store to pick up the different sweet potatoes, but definitely check them out. And even though it's white flesh, but it is slightly yellow if you look at it. So there is carotenoids in there. There is nutrients in there. And you want to cut these wedges all about the same size and thickness if you can, because then they're going to cook symmetrically. So put those in a pan, a little bowl. I have a spice rub we're going to mix with that. The spice rub is salt, black pepper, cumin, garlic, and a little bit of sugar, just a little bit. So we sprinkle that on there. A dry rub. Just kind of toss them a little bit. And then we're going to put them in the oven at 450 degrees. And we're going to start this first because these take longer than the meat that we're pairing it with. Needs some oil. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Just enough olive oil to coat it. You don't want too much. But you know, olive oil is a good oil. It's monounsaturated. It has anti-inflammatory qualities. So it's okay. If you're eating a lot of vegetables, and that is the purpose of the anti-inflammatory diet, is to get you to eat a lot of vegetables, having oils will sustain you. It'll keep you full. So put them in your roasting pan after they've been tossed with the oil and your spice mixture. Get the edges down on the pan. Put them in the oven, 450 degrees. And then we can start our tenderloin. We'll come back to those in 15 minutes, and then we'll add our tenderloin. Pork tenderloin is the filet mignon of pork. It's the psoas muscle. It does this in the pig. But think about pigs. They don't have a really high knee drive, do they? Okay? They're not sitting all day like we are as people sitting down. So their hip flexors don't work much, which means it's a really tender piece of meat. However, let's talk a little bit about pork. They say pork is the new white meat. Well, it's not. Pork is red meat, number one. Number two, if you were to compare pork to beef, pork is healthier. Why? Well, they both have about the same amount of fat, not a significant difference. But the fat in pork is polyunsaturated. It's a better fat. It helps push you into that anti-inflammatory state. Pork has vitamin D in it. So here's a shout out to Terry who said, hey, Dr. D, where can I get vitamin D besides the sun? Well, guess what, Terry? Eat more pork. It has some B vitamins in there. Thiamine, B1 are high in pork. Manganese, selenium. So pork is more nutrient dense than beef, except for B12 and iron. That's where you're going to get more in beef. But otherwise, pork is a healthier choice. So that's why they say pork is the new white meat, when in reality, it's just a healthier red meat. So what I did is I took my pork tenderloin and I already put a dry rub on it. I put a dry rub on it consisting of salt, pepper, cumin, and sage. And I braised it off in the pan on all 4 sides, 3 minutes aside, just to get a quick braise on it, okay? So it's already been braised, and there's some fluid in here that it's thrown off. Now pork, the tenderloin's very lean. There's no fat on it. So I cut off, I don't have to cut off any fat. It's very lean. So I put just a tablespoon of olive oil in the pan so I can get a good sear without really sticking. So that's what's here. Now we take that. After 15 minutes, the potatoes have been cooking. They're starting to roast. We're going to take the seared off pork and we're going to add it to the potatoes. And you can get a nice shot on how the pork's seared off very nicely on all 4 sides. So that stays there. Let me grab my Let's get the potatoes out. They've been cooking nicely. We're going to take the pork and just put it right in here. Ooh, baby, that sounds good and it smells great. Put it back in, 450 degrees, another 20 to 30 minutes. You wait till the pork's 140 degrees cooked. When it's cooked at 140 degrees, take it out, let it set for 5, preferably 10 to 15 minutes. In those last few minutes, we'll get the juices to set and it'll let it rise up to 145, which is the perfect temperature. Today, pork is really controlled. Our meats are really controlled. We really don't have to worry about trichinosis anymore. But you do want to get the pork cooked so that it's cooked through, but not dry. Don't kill it, all right? 140 degrees, take it out, let it set, 145, you're done. Now, we need a sauce to go with this, and we're also going to need some vegetables to go with this. Well, the vegetable is going to be broccoli rabe, and it's just going to be steamed because the sauce for the pork is going to be sweet, all right? So let's talk a little bit about broccoli rabe. Broccoli rabe is bitter, all right? And it's going to come from the store, and it's going to have a long, thick stalk, and it's going to have these little leaves. What you need to do is cut off the stalk. The leaves you want to keep. And the reason I want to keep this leaf, you'll notice when we do our meal prep, all right? So we're going to keep that. I need a bowl. So we'll keep that. And then that's a nice leaf. We'll keep that. And then here is the head of the broccoli rabe with just a little stalk because the stalk's really woody. It's difficult to chew, and that's all the stalk you need. And we'll see how that'll work into the whole plate. So when your broccoli rabe comes like that, cut off the stem, keep these little sucker leaves, and we're going to show you how they play into our meal prep. So that's how you prepare your broccoli rabe. Now that's a long stalk. Again, the stalks get kind of woody, kind of very fibrous, so I'll cut it off to there. And then this one, I'll cut it there, and I might even cut it again, because that's where you get that nice little bit of bitterness from without too much of the stalk. And that way you don't have to cut it off at the table. Now, if somebody's been eating broccoli rabe their whole life, and they're a little bit older like I am, you may remember broccoli rabe used to be super bitter. When I was a kid, oh man, broccoli rabe, oh, forget about it. But it's not nearly as bitter as it used to be. So I think a lot of that bitterness has been taken out, but the stalks are just tart. So real simple prep. Get this prepped up. We're going to put that in our steamer, and we're just going to steam it down, not till you kill it, just till it's cooked through. Usually takes about 10 minutes or so. So we have the broccoli rabe in the steamer. Add a little bit of water, just about 1/4 inch. Because you want to steam it, make sure you add the water, okay? No salt or anything. And then I'm going to need this burner, so I'm just going to put it on the back over here, get it out of the way, get that turned up, turn it up all the way, get that steam going nice and high. Takes 10, maybe 15 minutes, and the broccoli rabe's done. Keep an eye on it because you don't want it to fall apart. Now we need to make the sauce that's going to go with the pork. It's going to be a pear and apple sauce. So I need a nice apple and a nice pear. Again, I prefer we get organic. Why? Because we're going to leave the skins on. By leaving the skins on, we have a better palate or a better opportunity to get the good bacteria in your gut to live. You see, the microbiome, your good and bad bacteria that live in your intestines, the balance of your microbiome is related to the food you eat. That's why Fabulous Foods is all about choosing the right foods. If you chew gum and swallow it, what do you think your microbiome is going to live off of? Nothing. And probably you'll destroy it. But if you eat foods that are have soluble fiber. You eat foods that have pectin, like apples and pears, right? It's going to be really, really beneficial for your microbiome. If you eat fermented foods, it's going to be really beneficial for your microbiome. So we're going to core an apple, but I'm going to leave it in halves, and a pear. All right? And again, if you can't get the organic, get conventional. Regardless, you still have to wash them. I was very disappointed that I noticed even the organic apples have a coating on it, and they say it's a natural coating and there's no problems with it or anything, but the bottom line is it's still a coating. Okay, let's turn the fire on. This was the pan that we cooked off the pork loin. There's a little bit of the juices it threw off in there. Let's kind of get all those little goodies off the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to take our apple face down, put it right in there. Our pear down, right in there. The other, get those right in there. Good. And I'm going to cover it back up. Don't make it too high. We're almost baking the apple and pear, but we're simmering it in the flavoring and the sauces from the pork loin. This is going to take a few minutes, but guess what? We still have the roasted potatoes going. That's going to take a few more minutes, so these will be done at the same time. In the meantime, we're going to prep the 3-bean salad. So while I get the 3-bean salad ingredients out, we're going to take a short break and I'll be right back. Did you know that stretching is not a warm-up? That's right, static stretching, going into a position and holding a stretch, it's not considered a warm-up. In fact, research has shown that if you stretch before activities, you're going to be more at risk for an injury. But if you don't stretch, how do you do it? Lots of options. One of the simplest things is using a massage stick. Massage sticks come in lots of different ways, and you roll it on the muscles, and it does warm up and lengthen tissues. The other thing people use all the time is a foam roller. Now, a foam roller is also very good for driving blood to the muscles and for getting the muscles to loosen. If you need even more authority than the firm foam roller, we go into rigid foam roller with PVC core that does vibration. So as it vibrates, this gives you the effect of the foam rolling, and then the vibration breaks down the tightness and the adhesions and the stiffness even more. If you got to get into your glutes and hips even more, we use the same concept of a firm, hard plastic foam roller that will also give us that deep pressure of the foam roller with the vibration. Static stretching, just to get everything to loosen up, still good for you. You do that after. That's your cool down. But you know something? That's another video. Thanks for tuning in. Ask us about your questions for your workouts, your warm-ups, your cool downs. We'll make sure you're doing the right exercises for you. Have a great day. Let's take a look at those pears and apple pieces. Oh yeah, those are doing nice. Now you see it's starting to get really thick, all right, because it's going to throw off, well, it's cooking, it's going to throw off all of its water. So we need to add a little bit more of a fluid to that. So the fluid we're going to add is actually some apple cider. Just about 3-4 tablespoons to keep it from getting too dry, because ultimately this is going to be our jus. It's going to be an apple pear au jus. So let's add a little bit. Now if you don't have apple cider, you can get some of the organic apple juice that's got the fiber in it, right? The fiber, you want the pulp. Fiber, pulp, it's important for your gut. So keep an eye on that. If you find it continues to thicken up, you may also have to add a little bit of water, because the apple and the pear throw off some juices, but not a real lot. On top of that, we're going to add raisins, 2 tablespoons of raisins. Get that last one in there. There we go. And just let that simmer down, keeping an eye on the water level. Our 3-bean salad. Well, it's going to be with green beans. So we're going to start with green beans. That's about a pound of green beans, steamed, left somewhat firm. When you get your beans, take the time to inspect them, because you can just grab a handful of beans and some will be like this, which is really nice thickness, firm texture, and some will be kind of scrawny and they'll have bruises and marks on them. Now if you try to, the scrawny ones will be a little more difficult to snap when you clean them. And hey, take the time to snap your ends on your beans, okay? That's the way the green bean's supposed to look before you cook it. Don't leave the little things on. And if you don't want to snap them, you can take a paring knife and you can just trim them with a paring knife like that, okay? But come on, Grandma would never, never serve a green bean that's got the nibs on it. Snap the nibs or cut them with a knife. But take the time also to pick the same size. So we've done that with our green beans. We steamed them and they have a little bit of crunch left to them. With that, we're going to add some red kidney beans. Now I add about half as much. So this would be maybe 8 ounces, half a can, all right? I buy the canned, makes it easier. Can you soak and boil your own? Yes, topic for another show. On top of that, add some cannellini beans, same thing, 8 ounces, right in there. Then we're going to add some sweet onion, Vidalia onion. It's got to be sweet onion, all right? Half of Vidalia sweet onion chopped, all right, which is going to be, oh gosh, about 150 grams, all right? Maybe a half a cup. Stir that around. Now, when you look at your beans, if you do what I did and you buy canned kidney beans or cannelloni beans, read the labels. Is there salt in there? Is there calcium carbonate? Is there citrate? Are there preservatives? Get the ones that have as least amount of junk in there. You just want water and beans if you can. Now, this will need salt. So you're going to need some salt. And it's probably going to take quite a bit to your taste, but in general, you're looking probably about half to a full teaspoon. So stir that in. This also likes to sit overnight. Does it have to? No, but the flavors really blend. Hemp seed hearts. You can also add these to taste, but I generally go about 2 tablespoons because it gives it a nice nuttiness. Stir that around. And again, the proportions of the onion, the hemp seed heart, it's all up to you. Dress it with red wine vinegar, okay? Several tablespoons. Now, that's going to be our dressing for the bean salad. Let's check that pork. Oh, baby. Beautiful. Look at that. So we have the pork come out. Let's see how we did. It was in 40 minutes. Oh, baby, that looks great. The pork's been in 40 minutes. Let's take our meat thermometer, put it in there, give it a moment to come up, and we'll check the temperature. We want it at 140 degrees. Then we're going to let it rest for really 10 minutes. After we let it rest, we're going to slice it up, plate it, and put it all together. So the broccoli rabe's fully steamed. Let's take that out and just put it over here. Boy, that looks great. We have our roasted sweet potatoes. I'll need a regular plate for that, for our roasted sweet potatoes. And look at that nice little char we have on them. And we have the purple skin and the regular yam. Let's put that right in the, we don't need these beans. We'll put them over here. we can put those over there. So we got our potatoes. We have some broccoli rabe. Why do we have all these vegetables? Because you need 7 servings of vegetables a day. We have our bean salad, our 3-bean salad, which is focused on what? On the green beans. It's mostly green beans. And after that, it's onions. Onions are high in quercetin, a great antioxidant. Let's take a look at this over here. Oh, look at that. We have some nice au jus going. The the apples and the pears are just about done. Let that go. I'm going to add just a touch more apple juice. Let's slice up the pork loin. Perfect. Just got to let it set a few minutes before let it set a few minutes before you slice it, and there's your pork loin. Shut this off. Take the lid off. We're going to have falling apart. An apple. We're going to half a pear. And there's our au jus. Roasted pork, 3-bean salad, broccoli rabe with pear, apple, au jus. Lots of antioxidants, and your sweet potatoes. Lots of antioxidants, lots of nutrients, lots of fiber, a good source of protein, polyunsaturated fatty acids. This is a keeper. And we're going to show you how you can meal prep it in a moment. So let's put this here. I'm going to taste that in a moment. Boy, that smells great. So for meal prep, a couple of options. One option is to get some corn tortillas, put them in the toaster so they're not completely toasted, just to kind of make them a little firm. And then you can make a little taco with the leftover meat. So slice up your meat. And then you can make a taco with your broccoli rabe. Because you want to get those greens. It's about the greens. And then you can make a couple of tacos, put them in here, and save a little room on the side for either some 3-bean salad or maybe some endive or maybe a piece of the apple fresh, or bring one of your whole apples with you. And that's a nice way you can make this dish into an on-the-go meal. Thinly sliced pork loin with some greens. I'm choosing the broccoli rabe because I already made it, and I made plenty for the whole week. Right in there like that. Right in here like that. And then I'm going to... we're out of time. It's over. We're done. I'm going to grab a pear, put a pear in there, and there's my meal prep lunch. Fabulous Feast is about empowering you to make good choices. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you on the next show.